evening, sir.
You are welcome. Hope networking.
Please, I'm a meeting.
Well, not for you, but for those who have forgotten that my name is still Oguwuike Nwachukwu, the Chief Press Secretary, Media Advisor to the Governor of the State, Distinguished Senator of Adanna.
Okay, sir.
And I'm a reporter.
Yeah, okay. You are the CPS to the governor. How do you assess the performance of the governor? And also, how do you assess the acceptability of the governor by Uzodimma? The second question again is, what is your, the last election we just concluded, what is your assessment of the last election? So what does it imply?
Okay, quite loaded. Let me start with your first question, which is on assessment. I don't know whether you want me to assess him, in the last 1 year, or to assess him in the last 3 years that he's been on board. But I think my understanding of your question is 3 years down the road, what is my opinion of his administration.
That's correct.
And I must tell you that it's been wonderful. The 3 years have been very fruitful.
Okay.
3 years of hard work, 3 years of reforms, 3 years of infrastructural development here and there, cutting across all the nooks and crannies of the state, particularly the 3 senatorial zones of the state, 27 local government area, 305 electoral wards in Imo State. So I don't even know whether I'm in the best position to assess him now, because a lot of people may be wanting to say, okay, you work for him, you work with him, you are his spokesperson. So are you going to say anything that is contrary to what your principal ordinary would have loved to say? But to remember that Imo people, Imo, have themselves assessed him.
Okay.
They have evaluated his administration through different channels. And one of the very important channels is the stakeholders, which is an assemblage of who is who in Imo State, opinion molders across all divide, politicians, businessmen, religious leaders, market women, youths, professionals, home and abroad. And I refer you to the last stakeholders meeting, that was chaired by Dr. Pascal Dozier, where the people in unison, moved the motion, properly moved the motion, that he should continue in office, that he should seek re-election. I am not sure when they did that, the governor had the slightest inkling, about the level of appreciation of what he's been able to do in the last 3 years. So that singular activity that led to that endorsement or that call has long triggered other calls, zones, local government, chairmen, groups, and all that. So it's left for the governor. But the good news is that he has been screened.
Okay.
That's the good news. So having been screened, so it's no longer at the realm of procrastination, whether he's running or he's not running. It's also not at the realm of conjecture, whether he's in the ring or not, or whether he's disposed, to accepting those calls. So having been screened, it means that, he has listened to those calls and he has accepted those calls. So, by and large, back to your question now, Imo people are happy, Imo people are pleased with his performance so far, and it is their desire, that he continues in office, to complete some of the projects, programs, that are still nearing completion, or that will require, a few more years, to get them properly actualized. Perhaps I should let us know that the dredging of Orash is not a project, that you leave in the hands of people who do not understand, the dynamics of that project. This is a project, is big, call it his baby. I think we are right, because it is under him that what looks like fruition, was recorded with regard to what the government or the federal government, in liaison with the state government wants to do there. So such a project is a project that the originator, the owner, needs to ensure that at the end of the day, more people will get the desired value because of the spiral economic and business impact that our people will benefit from that project. And so many other, economic related projects, road infrastructure. Of course, when we are talking about Oguwuike Nwachukwu, it looks to me like, well, I mean, it has been overflowed. Okay. But it's not been overflowed. As an undergraduate going to Nsukka in the 80s, late 80s, passing through Oguwuike Nwachukwu to Enugu. Okay. The road was in a very horrible state.
In the 80s?
That's what I'm telling you.
Wow.
That same road. So it gives you an idea. And my graduation is 30-something years.
Okay.
So when some of us speak about, some of these projects, we talk about these projects based on our own personal experience. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? So if I am going to Enugu now, and I have to go through Oguwuike Nwachukwu, and then to join Enugu Port Harcourt, I mean, I should be comfortable and proud to say this is the regime, this is the government, and I am part of the system, that made it possible. So it's under this administration. Now, are we talking about Oguwuike? Are we talking about Oguwuike? You saw how palace the state, the situation was, a few years ago. Okay. Now, a few years ago, but we had a governor who comes from that axis. Okay. He was there for 8 years. In fact, if I were the governor, or that governor, I would be asking myself, what happened? What happened? Was I normal that the road that, I used to go to my place was in this state? But you see, leadership, it's not everybody that understands it. Okay. You may be a leader, and you have your own areas where your leadership, will impact. Others have different colors, different areas where they lead. So you can excuse those of them, who came and saw the state and left the state in a very horrible, situation. Otherwise, I don't see why Oguwuike, road will be left to decay to the extent that it was an eyesore. Ditto other routes. I'm happy you have seen what is going on now on Oguwuike, Mbise, Obo, Umaya road. The level that work is progressing there is quite unprecedented and very encouraging, and speaks volume about the seriousness of this government with regard to infrastructure.
Okay, sir. Where are you from? Where are you from?
December.
Okay, you're not December.
Yes.
Okay, no wonder you're citing that place. But what about...
Not necessarily, because you see, I'm also aware that until now, the Owerri Mbise Obo Umuahia road, has remained the way it is until recently. Okay. So governments came, politicians came, made promises, but those promises didn't come to fruition. Okay. So if you ask any Mbise man or any Obo person, who plies that road, I mean, they will tell you that it is this administration, except they are lying to themselves. But anybody who has conscience, will tell you that this road is being handled by Uzodimma.
So you have something to campaign with?
Of course. That's just one thing to. There are so many things to campaign with.
In your place?
There are so many things. I mean,
in your local government, the presence of government in your local government.
Of course. There are a lot of things. The 305 electoral ward,
health
centers in all the electoral ward, and my local government benefited from such.
Okay.
Yes, the local roads, the 5-kilometer local roads. My local government also benefited.
Really?
Yes.
What part?
I have.
Okay.
So they are local roads. So you see, these ones are small projects, even though they are also critical, to the lives of the people, their existence, But we are talking about projects that past administrations, if they remember them, they are scared.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They are scared. They see it as, oh, where am I going to get the money? Okay. Where will the money come from? Who will fund it?
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so we're not talking about 1 kilometer road, 2 kilometers road.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about 50-something kilometer roads.
Okay.
40-something. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
and some of these roads are deemed to be federal government projects, roads.
Okay.
So they have, or rather, they had ready-made excuses.
All right.
It is not state road; it is federal road.
Okay.
But I can't remember how many times
federal government
or Buhari will come here and be applying. If I decide to go to come to work from his every day, which is less than 1 hour.
Okay.
Which is less than 1 hour. So I will be the one applying that route, not Buhari, not any of the ministers who does not come here. So people must, when I say leadership, people lead in different areas. You understand what I'm saying? And the benefit of, the larger picture that you can get from some of these projects is that it goes a long way to reduce, the pressure that is being piled on Owerri. I came from Lagos. Okay. In Lagos, people go to work or live at places where every day they do 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours on the road?
Yes, going and coming.
Okay.
Yes.
So they live at
30-something kilometers, 40-something kilometers every day.
Okay.
So if somebody decides to come to walk from Olu, Banana Junction to Owerri every day, it's less than 30 minutes. The road is beautiful. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. So you're not going to bother about house rent, coming to Owerri to start renting a house if you already have one at Banana Junction where you come from. So these are some of the things that, this infrastructural renewal.
So it's thereby decongesting.
Decongest the city and then makes life more meaningful for the people. Okay. Are you talking about the spiral effect is huge? What of accidents that occur? What of the wear and tear on your vehicle and so many other things?
Okay.
You know, so the economic benefit is quite huge. It's quite huge.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. You are a journalist by profession, and you rightly said that you are a reporter.
Yes, I am a reporter.
Okay. Of how many years now? And also, you double as the chief press secretary to the governor. What is the relationship between the governor, the government, and the journalists in Imo State? How do you assess it? What is it like?
Well, very cordial, you know, to the extent that, of course, you know that even before he became governor, you know, he had a very good relationship with the journalists. Not just journalists, you know, operative, you know, in Imo State, but across the country, in Lagos and Abuja. You understand that? So they see him as one of them in terms of, you know, relationship, you know. So and that relationship still subsists even till today. Of course, we are here, you know that under him, the last 2 years, you know, we've instituted, or he approved his institution of, you know, an awards for journalists, you know, in Imo State.
Yes.
You know, as a way of recognizing their capacity, competencies, and rewarding hard work and diligence.
Okay.
You know, and that to me is very, very fundamental. It's very important, because when you say, "Oh, this story you wrote it properly," you know, you are reminding that journalist, you know, to remain on that lane of perfection,
Okay.
writing good copies. Of course, you know the different categories, you know, awards, compensation is given to journalists, you know, for different categories: investigative journalists, sports writing, best documentary features and all that. So it's very, very important. And what he's doing here complements what other groups, Nigerian media, you know, media awards, you know, they have a similar thing. You have the DEM, you know, awards. These are all bodies that groups and individuals set up, you know, to reward journalists. But fundamentally, that of distinguished Senator Uzodimma, the governor, this is the first time a government and the governor, you know, is saying, no, we need to recognize the journalists that are operating within the environment where we operate. You know, so that to us, you know, goes a long way in telling you, you know, the passion he shares with, you know, the journalists that are here. Now, you know, many a times when people want to talk about relationship, you know, what comes to their mind is it the immediate gains? Is it the naira and kobo of the relationship? No. I want to believe that every journalist, trained journalist, is on a career mission. And what any system, any government, any governor that, you know, that loves you, truly loves you, can do for you, is to create that enabling environment, you know, that will help you pursue that career, so that at the end of the day, you have something to reference to. And remember, I'm sure you were there when the Nigerian Guild of Editors had when they came here last year for their conference, and then during the gala night, where the governor was, made a lot of suggestions on how to further, improve, on their responsibility, on their career, So by suggestions like, foundations and pursuing programs, that will put you on the same pedestal with what you read or what you watch on CNN and BBC and all that. Okay. So if all of us read from the same books about the profession, about the demands of the profession, I don't see anything, that will make the person who is working for CNN or BBC to claim to be superior to you. The only thing is that the environment. So what the governor and his government are simply doing is to create that environment, for the journalists to apply their trade in such a way that they will be better off at the end of the day. And I think he's doing that, and I think he's doing that. And in terms of welfare, people will always say welfare. Okay. Leadership, like I will always say, no two types of management or leadership will be the same. If what you are unable to get in terms of naira and kobo, you are getting, from being trained to be better, to be more professional, I mean, the choice is yours. But I think if you ask me, I would go for, that program, that will make me pursue my career to the best of my ability.
Okay, sir. Sir, how would you describe the victory of APC in the just concluded House of Assembly election?
It shows you that Imo people have they have come to terms with what they are seeing in terms of the delivery from the government, from the governor, and I think it's a way they have paid back to him, about the good work he's doing, and it's I suppose what you will see going forward, but particularly as we look forward to the governor's election by November. So this to us this is just an appetizer. It's a precursor to how Imo people will show greater love to the government. Now you are not going to doubt why it happened, because when the governor, distinguished Senator Uzodimma, came on board, 2020, everywhere was in a very sorry state. Everywhere. Today, we no longer talk about flood. We live here. When I came here, January 17th, January 17th, that was the day I resumed. I think the next day or so, when it rained, the whole of Banquet up to Oguwuike, the whole of there was taken over by flood everywhere, up to Imsu Junction to works layout, if you want to use that as axis to connect, Akwakuba and other. Everywhere was overtaken by flood. Even here, government has roundabout here, everywhere. Wow. But we have suddenly forgotten that these are challenges that were staring us on the face 3 years ago. They're no more there. So you remember when we were looking for solution to the flood and the balloon technology was introduced. The people, some of them who didn't understand, who didn't have the slightest knowledge about the benefit of that technology. They're saying all manner of things, and things like we have seen it before. Those who came, blah blah blah, and all that. But today, seeing is believing. So I can, comfortably say that when it rains in Owerri, you will see that flood-threatening environment that was characteristic of this place prior 2020. That's one. Two, of course, you saw the state of the roads here. You saw Douglas Road. Douglas Road was in Parcel. It was, I mean, the whole of Douglas Road was more or less used as a refuse dump. The whole of Douglas Road.
That's correct.
There was no road there. There was no road. You know, we are living or made, you know, we believe that it was right for us not to live like human beings. And it was okay. Now it was okay because the governments that came before us, you know, saw it as a way of life. And the people bought into it.
Okay.
They bought into it. Today, you can drive from Bank Road to Emmanuel College, where Douglas Road terminates, and you join other roads. I'm sure Relief Market, Chukwumanwoha, MCC. No, the MCC is a recent one. There's this other road. This other road. Yes. Chukwumanwoha. There's another road. There's the Tiger. All those axes. You see, the story of Chukwumanwoha and the Tiger, that axis, is that most of the people who were living there packed out. The day those roads were commissioned, I remember very well one of the persons who spoke, who came to speak, Frank Nage, ABC Transport, said he lives on that axis. And he packed. He said for 20-something years. So for that 20-something years, we are talking about governments. There were governments in Imo State. People packed out. If you saw, you know, the kind of technology, the kind of engineering that went into that axis, can take this whole building.
Wow.
Yes. Because it was, you know, that the agenda was to ensure that that perennial flood that was making people to pack out from their environment was no longer there. And that is exactly what this government set out to do, and it achieved it. All the people who had houses there before that ran go back to that place now and see whether you can rent a house.
Okay. They've all come back.
They have not only come, go and check with those who are into real estate. Tell them to look for a house on that axis for you, so that you know
the value of house.
You know the value of that axis now. So that's what we're talking about. You know, so Igbo people, they remember all these things. I want to believe that they remember all these things.
Yes.
We are good people. We are good people. We compensate, you know, good things.
Yeah.
When people treat us properly, we compensate people for treating us properly. That is the hallmark of the Igbo man. It's a cultural thing. It's in our DNA. So Igbo people will remember that before 2020, all these places that I mentioned were no-go area until Uzodimma came and intervened. So he's going to rub off on his election the way, like I said, that they just held, you know, House of Assembly election. It's just a precursor. It's an appetizer, you know. So it's an appetizer. The main course, you know, when the main course comes up by November, the more people will surely love to go to Uzodimma.
Okay, so continuity in any project is very, very important, especially when that project is well accepted by the people. Now, we've seen calls coming from different bodies in the states for a rerun, as in for re-electing the governor. We want you now, as the Chief Press Secretary to the governor, to, like I say, pass a vote of confidence on your boss.
Well, I think I have already done that, with all that I have said. The vote of confidence is that one, Uzodimma has justified, he has properly justified his reason, for being elected governor of Imo State. He has also justified the reason that the Supreme Court returned his mandate that was stolen by those who didn't mean well for this state. I say justify, because, you have seen the level of accountability that is synonymous with this administration. You have seen the different reforms. I'm sure we have not forgotten how the civil service was looking before he came on board. Permanent secretaries, we are jumping on Okada and Keke Marwa to office. Permanent secretaries in Imo State. So what kind of disregard? And then we have governments, that ignored this caliber of people who are supposed to be part and parcel, or who are, let me put it,
stakeholders.
Stakeholders, engine room of government, major policy drivers of government, and you treated them as a nobody. So Uzodimma came on board and started his reform. And with those reforms, the permanent secretaries, they were all given official vehicles.
Okay.
He moved into the judiciary. All judges, whether customary, high court, or, they were all given brand new vehicles. You saw what he did with
traditional rulers.
Traditional rulers one is a recent own. With the workers, vehicles, buses, taking workers to and fro to work. It's not just giving them bus, making sure that when you board those buses, you are giving snacks.
Wow.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. So, and these are some of the things that, those reforms. And when people say, oh, welfare, like during this recent NSC, saga, some of the workers were even shocked. Of course, they didn't need anybody to tell them that it was politics in another language. Because they are beneficiaries of what the governor did. Of course, when he embarked on the salary automation, of course, criticism here and there. Criticisms. Because our people, past regimes affected the people so much that they made them lack the capacity to even see what will benefit them. So the automation process was strange to them. Very strange. Very strange. Today, every verified civil servant in Imo State, every verified pensioner in Imo State,
You'll be in their homes.
you'll be in your homes and you are paid. Okay. When you retire, if you're a civil servant, I want to tell us the benefit of this automation. If you retire as a civil servant, if you are retiring by next month, after getting your pay for that last month, they will migrate you now
to
Chinyere, Adanna, remove your name from payroll as a civil servant and move it to pension.
The next month?
Yes, that's how this automation, that's the idea.
Okay.
So what this government has done is to lay foundation for an Imo state that will be competitive nationally and globally. And the credit goes to this government. The credit goes to this government. The traditional rulers, of course, theirs is recent. The traditional rulers, they were given vehicles. Before now, they were begging to collect their salary. In fact, some of them will come here and sleep in the government house in the name of trying to collect the stipend, and they ask me how much was the stipend. But today, not only are they getting their allowances as admin do through alert.
Because I remember those days when you go to ministry, to secretariat, you see civil servants lined up.
Yes.
In
yes.
Director of Accounts
yes.
offices in their various
beggarly, in a beggarly state,
yes.
in a beggarly situation.
Some of them, if you're not friendly with the Director of Accounts,
yes.
the Director of Accounts will deprive you of your pay.
So all those things.
So all those things are normal.
These are reforms. These are reforms that would outlive us and outlive this government.
Okay.
These are reforms that will outlive him and outlive the government. And so many others. So many others. Of course, the civil servants whose promotions were stagnated. Okay. 10 years. 10 years. For 10 years. Governments never bothered to ask, why is this man in one office for 10 years? How callous could they be? How wicked could they be? Today, it is no longer the issue. But their conscience, instead of their conscience to prick them, what their conscience is telling them is that Hope Uzodimma is doing politics with it. That's how, like I said, how dastard can somebody be? Is Hope Uzodimma a civil servant?
I know.
Is he a beneficiary of the promotion?
No.
So these are some of the questions that should agitate the mind of people. You know, so back to what you just asked. You know, I think he has surpassed the expectation, because the truth is that they never believed. So many of them never believed
that he could perform.
That he could perform. So that was why, you know, they resorted to blackmail, propaganda, laying mines here and there, you know, so that he can fall. And you know, it was a properly designed agenda for Hope Uzodimma to fall, or for his administration, you know, not to perform. They know it, including the insecurity. They know it. It was proper. It was proper, you know. But he who has God has everything, and I think he demonstrated capacity in different ways. Capacity in terms of commitment, performance, truthfulness, you know, with the people, and then approaching everything he was doing with the fear of God. And that's why some of them today, when they look back, they say, we thought. So they are going to continue to be at the realm of thought until he gets re-elected by the government.
Amen.
Finally, from me, sir, indeed we've seen that the governor has delivered the dividends of democracy to Imolites. Now, what's your advice to Imolites, even as we see the governorship election November 11 approaches?
My advice is that our people should keep faith with a government that has delivered. They should continue to support a government that supports them. They should continue to trust Hope Uzodimma, because Hope Uzodimma himself trusts that the people, as far as government is concerned, is what matters. Because if you are in public service, if you're in public service and you don't think the people, I am talking about sincerely thinking about the people. welfare of the people. And how do you think about the people and their welfare? You can see all of it. All the infrastructure, roads, agriculture, health, the farms, civil service, everywhere. These are people-oriented programs and projects. So how else? What else is government? What else is governance? So if you don't trust the man that is delivering or giving you all this, who are you going to trust? People who came here before. We know them now. We know them. We know the apostles. Okay. We know them. We know that they don't have the capacity. They never trusted him. They never believed in their people before. And I don't see them believing in our Imo people, by November. Somebody who didn't believe in you 20 years ago, 10 years ago, is it not that the person will believe in you?
No.
How? And I know Imo people are intelligent people. Imo people they are wise. They are knowledgeable enough to know, when the seat is at play. I don't think they will want anybody to deceive them any longer. What is going to happen? Because we are confident, very, very confident, that the election by November, will be peaceful and the winning will be overwhelming. What we're already envisaging, what we're seeing, is a consolidation of the gains of this administration. So that by the time Uzodimma retires, by the time he leaves office by 2027 and goes to Amoma, he will look back and say, God, I thank you for this opportunity to serve my people sincerely and truthfully. And that to us is our expectation.
Okay, sir. What is your word of encouragement to the governor in the face of obvious propaganda and or what have you, and also to your colleagues, the journalists, who have, will I say, they become vulnerable to politicians to be used to do propaganda against the governor and the government? What is your word of advice to your colleagues, the journalists?
First, I know that my principal is a very disciplined person, and I know that he will remain as focused as he has come.
Eyes on the ball.
His eyes will always be on the ball. He will remove his eyes from the ball. He's not going to be distracted. So you can take that to the bank.
Okay.
That the hope of Uzodimma will never fall for all these distractions. He will.
Okay.
Now, for my colleagues, well, in the first place, the journalist is supposed to be apolitical.
Okay.
The journalists follow the truth. They write what they are seeing. What we are saying is that when it is the truth, write the truth.
Okay.
Don't go into unnecessary blackmail, propaganda.
Okay.
Don't allow anybody to use you.
Okay.
In fact, what they are writing is supposed to instruct us.
Okay.
It's supposed to complement what government is going to do. What they are writing is supposed to be raw materials that government will use to improve on areas.
Okay.
So, but if you go into the aspect of allowing yourself to be used to slander, to blackmail, to propagate fake news, things deliberately is not correct, then you're not only shooting yourself on the foot, you're also destroying the sector. You're destroying the industry.
You mean the journalism industry?
Yes, because all over the world, journalism is a noble profession.
Yeah.
Noble profession. Because when they say the pen is mightier than the sword, so it means a lot. So those who understand, you know, the logic between that saying, they know that it is complementary. Their role and that of the government is complementary.
Okay.
So they should be cautious. They should be wary of those who want to use them. And if those people are going to use them, they should also ask themselves, why now?
Okay.
Why now? Those they used before, where are they?
Okay.
Where are they? So it's very, very important that, you know, they write constructively, objectively, ask questions where they need clarifications, and demand clarifications where they think that clarification is necessary.
Okay.
But more importantly, resist any attempt by anybody, no matter how highly placed, no matter how wealthy, to use you to blackmail the government or the governor or the system, because at the end of the day, they come back to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for having us.